So if I can get your attention, please. All right, if I can get your attention, please. Today's date, September 11th. It's the 21st anniversary of the tragic events of 9/11. I'm honored to be able to introduce Chief Bartee of Roseville Fire to share some thoughts with us.
I'm going to stand at the podium real quick. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick Bartee. I've been the fire chief here in Roseville now for going on 7 years or so. Prior to that, in my other life, I spent 34 years with the City of Phoenix Fire Department. During that time, I was a member of our Urban Search and Rescue, FEMA Urban Search and Rescue Task Force since 1992. So what leads me to be able to talk today is, I was like a lot of you folks here 21 years ago. Actually, I was just getting dressed. Our times were the same, watching everything on TV, watching what was going on. And during that time, as soon as I saw the towers collapse, I knew, as part of a FEMA Urban Search and Rescue team, we're going there. But I also knew that where all the first responders were in those towers. We're in those stairwells. We knew what they were going to go do there and why we were there. So while I watched all of that, rushed down, got dressed, and the call came on my way down there that we were going. So as one of those task forces, we got mobilized, activated, put together, and then all of a sudden the air stoppage stopped everything that was going that direction. Quite a few teams made it that way, but my team didn't make it out that night after we got sequestered. We made it out about 10 days later, and we're on the second wave of the FEMA teams. So what I would tell you is that everything you saw on TV didn't do you justice for the size and magnitude of what that was and what happened there, and I could tell you that from firsthand being on there. Worked over 12 days on that pile, was part of that. But we knew what our mission was. We knew what we were there for, and we knew who we were going after, besides all the civilians that had passed itself. During that time, while I was there, 6 of those days, there was a gentleman who was standing right where our boo was, our forward operating place, just watching what we were doing. And that time, I took one of those days to walk over and ask him, is there anything I can do for you? He was wearing a FDNY blazer, so I knew he was retired. Because one of the things that was happening there is there were retired folks who had been retired for 20 years who were walking on that pile with us. Gentlemen that you couldn't believe that they were out there doing what we were doing. Anyway, that gentleman said, I said, is there anything I can do for you, sir? He said, are you doing your best? I said, we're doing the best we can with what we have. He said, that's all I can ask for. Just keep doing your best to bring our boys home. And it wasn't for some little time later, I found out that he was Captain John Vigiato. That captain there lost 2 sons. One was a firefighter, one was a ESU detective who was in the tower. And that's what he was waiting there for them. He spent 6 months sitting up there on the pile, at the site. And a lot of folks watched where he was at, and he was someday they inspired him to keep working and doing their best to bring those boys home. As part of FEMA Urban Search and Rescue, I've been blessed to be part of that and stay part of that, even in my time here in Roseville. So fast forward 17 years later, I'm in Puerto Rico on this very day with FDNY's and NYPD's FEMA Search and Rescue Task Force on this particular day. And I knew how much they were hurting. I'm one of the leaders of the incident support team, so I bedded them down for the day, allowed them to hang out on the beach and do the things they need to do and reflect. You could tell in them that there's a lot going on in their minds, a lot that they need to remember, and a lot of things they want to forget, but they're working through it. So I asked them, what is it can I do for you? Everybody says never forget. A lot of us say never forget. The badge I'm wearing today is a commemorative 9/11 badge. Many of my firefighters you'll see around have this, and we've been wearing this for a year. And it has 343 on it. It has September 11th on it. And I said, well, what else can we do for you? They said, well, you can do. Tell all the first responders from this day forward and those from the past. All we can ask for you to do is remember your oath. Remember why you became a first responder. Remember you're here to protect and serve the citizens. But more importantly, take care of each other. Look in front of you and look behind you. Look around you and make sure you're taking care of each other. And that was something important for me to remember and to pass on. So what I want to say today is to remember what the gentleman, what FDNY retired Captain John Vigiano said. Always do your best to bring your boys and gals home. Never forget. Take care of each other and remember your oath. That's what I pass on to my firefighters, to remember your oath. That's what's so important that we'll take from that. 343 firefighters, over 37 police officers and others. Close to 3,000 people lost their lives that day. And many of them, as you know, we didn't return whole. Just remember this day. With that, I want you to take a moment of silence, please.
Thank you, Chief Partee. All right, we're going to get started with our day operational briefing for the Mosquito fire. We get started with operations with the current situation.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm thinking back to where I was on 9/11. It was at French Meadows Reservoir, right up the road here on the Star Fire. So I can remember I was on that day for sure. Okay, so for your operational update from night shift last night, we'll start here near the community of Forest Hill. We were able to get the fire all the way down to the American River last night. So it's hot in there still. There's a ton of work still to be done, but a good successful night here underneath Forest Hill on that Baltimore Mine Road. Coming across over to Buckeye, that they kept up with the fire last night. The line is mostly all the way in, if not all the way in by this morning, and then we'll be definitely concentrating on that for tomorrow night, but high priority, I would imagine, for you guys today. As we come around through Volcanoville, down into Quintet, that's all looking good. It was a quiet night in there last night. You see some black on the map. It's always a good thing, right? So we're gaining some containment in here, continuing to mop up, and things are starting to look good. As you come around out here to the east and to the north, this last night was laid down pretty good. Wasn't a ton of fire activity out there. The humidities came up, and so it was a fairly quiet night. On into Division Hotel, where that burn-in was occurring yesterday. We did have to unfortunately hang that up last night with the higher humidities. The fire behavior just wasn't conducive, and where we're burning around some structures in there, we want to make sure that we do that right. So that will be another thing that you'll have to pay attention to today for day shift. So with that, that's the end of my report, and have a good, safe shift.
Weather.
All right, good morning. So you heard operations, humidity's in our favor, recovery 60 to 70%, If you look up at the sky, you can see already we've got a lot of moisture and instability moving over the region. So when I wrote that forecast last night, I said a 10% chance of some thunderstorms this afternoon. It's the start of the NFL season, so the money line has changed. Before we get to that point, though, prevailing winds remain southwest, so through 1400 hours, you'll be really quiet underneath the inversion, not much going on, favorable conditions. As we get to this afternoon, well east of the fire, thunderstorms will develop up on the crest. As you get towards the end of the operational period, the outflow boundaries and whatnot are going to want to move in this direction. So for branch 10, branch 15, anybody who's well east of the fire, out doing some scouting, contingency line, firing up on Division Hotel, keep that in the back of your mind. I think the biggest threat is we might just see a few stray showers with it. Do think that any of the thunder and lightning stays to the east, but that's your kind of watch out for today. Thanks.
Fire behavior.
Morning, Jonathan Pangburn with Fire Behavior. All right, so boundary outflows, that's always a situation that shouts watch out, extra precaution for that. But even if it doesn't occur, even if we get a light drizzle or something that just clears out a little bit of your air, this fire wants to get up and move. So you have the American fire scar here and the King fire scar over in this area. Brushy. It may slow down a little bit, but there's plenty of fuel out there. And in between, there's this nice pocket of unburned fuel with no recent history for decades. So please be aware that this thing has significant potential. And with that southwest flow pushing up, it's going to want to run some of these canyons and ridges once they start to get in alignment. Right now, we get a little bit of squirrely twists and turns in the canyons, but once you get a little bit further east, they start to line up and come into alignment. Critically dry fuels, very steep topography along with the weather. Today, you do have a little bit of a chance with the higher humidity, but please be aware that if you get clear air, it's going to get up and move. Thank you. Have a safe shift.
Thank you. I want to bring your attention to the 202 this morning. The leaders' intent, management objectives, and control objectives remain the same, so please review those with your crews. Moving on. Operations with assignments today.
Good morning. Ernie Villa here, Planning Ops with Team 5. Go ahead and start off with our operational lineup, objectives and priorities for today. For today's day shift, we'll have Steve Burns for day ops, Deputy Hell. For night operations, Don Fergolia, Thomas Smith. For our planning ops section, we're pretty heavy here. We got myself, Spencer, and Landon. Starting off with Branch 3, Boston. Division Alpha, Gornerman. For Division Charlie, Abelo and Woods as a trainee. Woody. For Branch 5, Sonstein. For Division Delta, McCarthy. With a trainee of DeCarzio. For Division Foxtrot, Kidwell. With a trainee of Hardy. For Branch 10, Gary Monday. And his trainees, Tad Hare. For Branch 10, night Branch 10 will be Dave Soldavini. And you'll have Matt Radicke as the night branch there. So folks out on a 24, that'll be your contact. For Division Hotel, Jimmy Hodago. For Division Juliet, Atcher. For Branch 15, Steve Clark. For Division Mike, Jeb Prano. For Division Romeo, Sagana. Out there. Branch 20, Chris Stevens. His trainees, Pete English. Division Charlie Silverson. Doug Gleason is the trainee. And then for Branch 20, contingency is Osborne. Branch 25, Batham. Deputy be Alec Lane. Division Kilo Wagner. Vickers is a trainee. For Yankee Flowers, and Chase will be his trainee. For Zulu main unstaffed, we set up a new, we have a Branch 25 contingency with McLaughlin. Trainee Powers. And just a quick note for Branch 10 contingency for those resources, we've collapsed that yesterday. It was called East Contingency. Those folks need to show up back in Branch 10 breakout, and we'll get it straightened out. So for today's operational assignments today, I'll start off back here in Branch 3, basically looking at it indirect line construction coming out towards the Charlie break here. In Division Charlie, they're working on Baltimore Ridge, continuing to secure and hold the Baltimore Ridge in preparation of a firing operation coming out of Branch 20, which I'll get to and explain how that connects. So this piece out here is very critical to the operation. So continue to hold in Division Charlie. In Division Delta, they're going to continue to mop up and secure the line out towards the division break there. For Foxtrot, the same thing. We're going to continue and hold. Sounds like the line's gotten completed all the way out towards the branch break. We need to hold, mop up, and secure all the way north to the branch break. Moving into Branch 10 for Division Hotel. This is a pretty active division here. We're going to continue to construct indirect line out past the main part of the fire there, and then be prepared to do firing operations with approval of operations as you continue out to the north. Moving out into the Division Juliet country there, they've got indirect line proposed out towards the Forest Hill Road, the Forest Hill Divide coming back into Mosquito Ridge. So continue that indirect. They do have some special missions out in Juliet, so please, when in your breakout, make sure you're clear on what that looks like for some stuff that needs to get prepped out there by some giant sequoia trees. Moving into Division Mike there, they're going to continue with the indirect line option coming down in through Branch 15, and then Division Romeo will be coming out of the bottom out north towards indirect towards Division Mike there. For Division Charlie, same thing, continue to continue to go out and connect indirect line out towards Romeo. Out here in Golf Branch 20, continue to mop up and secure the fire's edge north of Quintet. For Division Kilo, same thing, mop up and secure along the perimeter out towards drop point 305. And then in Yankee, continue to monitor the firing operation that's going to continue down Buckeye Ridge here, and it's going to connect to the piece where they're coming down Baltimore. If that's secured, as they bring fire down, if the fire should jump, they're going to have contingency lines that established here, so there's going to need some coordination between the two branches as you guys continue this operation down here. For today's operational priorities, they still remain with Branch 20 and in Branch 5 for any aircraft needs. End of report.
Air operations.
Good morning, Ira Graves with Air Operations. So our helicopter fleet remains about the same as it has been, with 7 Type 1s, 3 Type 2s, and 2 Type 3s. We have Helco and air attacks available throughout full coverage for the day. We also received a nighttime Helco for any intel gathering if that's needed. We got 2 scoopers that came in yesterday, so those are going to be based out of South Lake Tahoe and dipping in the reservoirs just on the east side of the fire, so pretty quick turnarounds on that. I want to give a reminder for when you guys are doing ordering, make sure you're going up through your chain of command to your branch for priorities, and have them make those orders into the helibase or myself. Thank you.
Communications.
Good morning. Armando Delatorre, Comm Unit Leader Trainee. We've done one more assignment change, so make sure to refer to the 204s for your division assignments regarding your tax and all of those channels. Other than that, there's been no other changes, and hopefully we'll be coming up on our new system within a day or so, and we'll be doing one more clone, and after that, hopefully we'll be good, and you guys won't have to stand in line anymore. Have a safe shift and be good.
Thank you, Armando. Medical.
Good morning, Robert Russell, Team 5 Medical. So again, I will ask you to take the opportunity to review the ICS 206, your medical plan with your folks out there. Medical transport, treatment, and reporting information can also be found in your IRPGs, starting on page 118. So in the event of a medical emergency, utilize those tools to report back to communications your request for help out there on the line, and we will get that rolling to you. So additionally, we have more fills on fire line EMTs and medics, so review your ICS 204s to see what resources you have available to you on both your branch and division for both the day and night operational period. Ground-based transportation, we have folks that are up at mill staging, the Alpha 1 ambulances. We also have an AMR unit and the Sidetracks unit that are down in the branch 20, branch 25 area. So look at those resources and identify the best travel routes, times, ETAs, and think about how you're going to implement your IWI procedures in the event of an emergency. Additionally, we do continue to have Kern County Helicopter 407 assigned to the incident as our hoist extraction helicopter. They're based out of the Nevada County Airport up in Grass Valley, available for this incident on a 24-hour basis. That said, we don't want to solely depend on aircraft for hoist extraction. So again, we'll utilize that PACE model and think about if the aircraft is your primary plan, what your alternates, your contingencies, and emergency plans will be. Lastly, here at the ICP, we have the CalMat team that's set up. So for any medical needs you may have, they can assess, treat, take good care of you. And for medical supply needs, we've got Frontline Medical over there for that aspect. That said, have a good, safe day.
Safety.
Good morning, Dave Welch, Team 5 Safety. Well, let's start off with your safety record. Awesome. With the amount of people that we have here, the work that's being done and the topography out there, we're not seeing any glaring trends when it comes to injuries. So thank you for that, and let's keep it that way. If you're not aware, if you're not from this area, this is mining country, all right? So up there, there's a lot of mines, there's shafts, there's holes in the ground, they're unmarked. Please, if you come across them, make sure that you flag them, make sure that you obtain the GPS location, and that you pass that on to CITL, to the situation unit, so we can get that on the map. All right, don't assume just because you've come across it that everybody else knows where it is. A lot of these mines sometimes too have brush that have grown around them. Manzanita has come up, so if you're stepping into the brush, make sure you're keeping your head down when you're in that stuff looking for mines. Weather-wise, potential outflow winds, if that were to occur and you start to notice a wind shift, don't keep that information yourself. Make sure that you share it. And we haven't really hyped on this a lot. Weather's kind of cooling down, but we still need to hydrate. If you're not hydrated and your crews aren't hydrated before they head out, they're already behind the curve. So before you guys hit the road today, get a bottle of water down them and keep them hydrated throughout the day. And then PPE. So the direction given to the safety officers that we are not the PPE police. We don't want to be the PPE police. You have personal protective equipment for a reason, to keep you from getting injured. Please wear your PPE and don't make us have to become the PPE police. And then finally, just your personal safety. Yes, there's evacuations up there, but unfortunately, not everybody has abided by them, so you're going to run into locals up there. And also, just be aware when you're around these residences that we might not always be welcome. And then thank you for that. Have a safe shift.
Thank you. Before moving to the agency administrators, I want to bring a couple of things to attention. So we have a human resource specialist. Adam, slip your hand up. Any needs, please give him a call or see him. He does have a message in the IEP, so take a look at that. And for logistics, quick note from them, there is a traffic plan in the Roseville camp along with the city of Roseville and the IEP. Take a look at that. A lot of folks have been going backwards in the wrong way direction, so take a look at that. And also, backhaul some trash if you guys can help. They're short on drivers, so it'd be helpful if you guys can help bring some of that stuff in along with supplies. So, all right, agency administrator.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Matt Judd, agency administrator for the Tahoe National Forest. A couple things here, Unified Command with our partners with Chief Estes here with CalFire, NEU, Chief Blankenheim with El Dorado, Amador unit, and then Jeff Marcellet for a supervisor on the El Dorado National Forest. First off, thank you guys tremendously for the amount of work you put in. Had a great public meeting last night, lots of comments coming in, thanking everybody all along the divisions and the branches, protecting homes and communities. You guys are doing a lot of hard work. Second off, thanking Chief Barty for his message this morning. That's pretty near and dear to my heart. As a fellow New Yorker, born and raised, 9/11 hits home for me. So appreciate that message this morning. We all understand what it means to you, what it means to me, this agency, the badge, the uniform you guys wear. Keep that in mind today. And second off, as you're out there, I always encourage all of us, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep your head on a swivel, and do some good work. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Closing comments, Unified Incident Commander.
Thanks, Jason. So good morning, and thank you. Thank you for the good work that's going on out there. We're able to get some black on the map and show some containment this morning, and that's going to go a long way in this community to bring some relief. And that's all a reflection of the work you guys are doing out there. So thank you for those efforts. There's still a lot of work left out there, so keep your heads up as we move forward, but we're making progress, and the community's going to appreciate that. I echo Matt's words. I want to thank Chief Bartee for coming in and sharing his words and wisdom with us this morning. That was a moment I'll remember for quite some time. I'm going to ask you two favors before you go out in the field this morning or at some point during this day. And I know we say we don't mix work and pleasure. That's not how it works in the fire service. We have a rough time differentiating the two. One affects the other all the time. So I'm going to ask you today, as you go out, and you have a few minutes, reach out to somebody. Maybe it's somebody you shared an experience with. Maybe it's somebody who's deeply affected by 9/11. Or maybe it's just somebody you know that's going through some kind of tragedy or loss right now. But reach out to them. If it's a text, if it's a call, whatever you decide to do, but do it. Do it for them and do it for you. Second thing, in the sage words of Chief Bartee, ask yourself today, am I doing my best? Because that's all we ask. Have fun today and be safe.
Thank you. All right, that'll conclude our briefing for today. If you're unassigned, come on up front. We're going to get you guys assigned. Breakouts are posted. Same time for operational briefing, cooperators meeting 10 o'clock at the garden room, and then a planning meeting at 1700. Thank you and have a safe day.